Apologies for the red eyes and the nasally voice. This one is emotional, apparently. So, the two-step campaign pitch. How I did it wrong. First of all, I tried to help my mom and sister, um, who are clearly codependent, enabling addicts. And it all sort of came about when we recently decided to do a family gathering about a year ago at a nice restaurant downtown. And my sister comes pretty inebriated with a random guy, at which point my mom and dad decide to move themselves to the other end of the table because they're trying to get away from it. So then I am left with them, which here are all the ways I did not try and persuade my audience. Number one, I confronted them in public. I told my sister while she was inebriated that she needed help. I told my mom while this all was occurring that she was part of the problem and also needed help. And from the notes and the readings, Fishbein and Eisen sort of made clear that attitudes and behavior are different things. So I wanted to change both right away. But what I found was that it only sort of entrenched them further. And beyond that, I lost ethos in the process. I was admittedly probably the golden child who could do no wrong. And I think a little bit of hubris was involved when I got to the point where this is such a problem, I'm going to solve it right now. Here we go. And so I think the behavior I was asking to change is pretty simple. But it's a huge ask to have someone sort of change their identity. And so I think that's where I made my biggest mistake. Secondly, I spoke to resources that would help and had them help me contact my family, which was also a overreach on my part, because they didn't need help, and that was, how dare I. And lastly, when that didn't work, I involved other family members to support, which made it even more intrusive. And so I think I kept doubling down on ethos and logos, and I in their perspective and in my hindsight, sort of dismissed pathos entirely. Going back to week one, and so how I think I can change the matter, or impact it in the future, is to instead of a peripheral approach where we're busy and we're at dinner and there's social anxiety and tensions, and how do we look in front of all these people, and I can't really confront this emotion and this huge ask at the moment because it's changing everything I know about myself right now. To make it a central approach, and do it in a safe space when we have time to not only process our thoughts and emotions together, but also to do it with an expert who could sort of guide us through that process. So borrowing some ethos, which I lost, and sort of helping me get intact with the pathos while also continuing to understand the logos. Using that emotional appeal for my family, who admittedly is going to be a very emotional response. Logic isn't really going to do the trick here, so that's where I messed up the most. And the other thing is, like, attitude barely predicts a behavior. So even if I fully convince my mom, or I fully convince my sister, it's not necessarily going to convince each other to do it. And I think this has to be a group choice together. So I think their norms and their behavioral control right now, they work against me because I'm not there with them. I don't interact in their daily lives. They sort of have it together, right? So they're emotionally connected and they support each other. So I'm sort of on the outside, and they validate one another. So accepting this is going to be a huge sort of identity threat and crisis of conscience for them. And so I think I need to start very small with maybe one of them at a time and help. And help as far as in one discussion with an expert where we can talk about our feelings and focus on feelings first before we focus on anything else, so that they know that that I care. So I think that is my big change based on my understanding and my learning through this communication course, is that you can't rely on ethos because it'll fail you if you don't connect. And you have to communicate in the proper way at the proper time. And so I think what I would do most is sort of borrow ethos from those credible around me while I supply the pathos. So instead of trying to do the ethos on my own and be credible on my own with logic, I would just be there to listen and support and allow someone else to do that work for me. And then I would, instead of instantly trying to make sure that my sister or mom get into a facility, to make sure that we start small so that I can change an attitude before I try to change a behavior. Thanks.